Welcome to Nebraska Preps Postgame with your hosts, Mike Sautter and Jacob Padilla.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Nebraska Preps Postgame. Mike Sautter, Jacob Padilla here, breaking down everything that happened last week in high school basketball. Feel like there was a lot that happened and a lot of movement in our coaches pool too in the middle, which, you know, rightfully so, because there were some changes and some big top 10 wins by some teams and other teams upset teams. Yeah, it was crazy. So I guess we start. Bellevue West. It remains number one after a close kind of win against Lincoln Southeast. Lincoln Southeast came in and beat them, or came into Bellevue West, and Bellevue West kind of not hung on, but it was a tight.
Yeah, right? I was there, and actually kind of some big swings that they were trading threes early on, and then Bellevue West hit them with the 13-0 run, and it's like, oh, that's curtains. That. Yeah. But Southeast rattled back into it. They trailed by as much as 14 in the second quarter, and then just kept chipping away. Got it all the way down to 2 in the third quarter.
Yeah.
And then Jaden Jackson did what he does, took over, closed the quarter on a 7-0 run, including a steal and one just before the buzzer to put him back up by 9. And then they just kind of held on throughout the fourth. Southeast got it down to 4 with a minute left, hit some big shots, and Bellevue West missed some free throws. But Southeast kind of ran out of steam, couldn't get any more shots to fall at that point, and ended up losing. But it was a phenomenal game. Jaden Jackson, 21 points, 8 of 10 shooting, just continues to make big plays for them. They got 10 points apiece off the bench from Jacob Arope and Isaiah McMorris. And those guys were the ones that kind of, in the first half, keyed them to that big lead that they really got going early. And Stephen Polachek helped finish it too, and scored 13, only hit 1 3. Most of his points came at the rim, and a lot of those came in the fourth quarter when Southeast was getting up aggressive, trying to chase him around, and he got downhill and made plays. So good team effort from Bellevue West, but Tay Moore, 26.
He had a good night.
10 of 17 shooting, 4-10 from 3. Hit just tough shot after tough shot to give them a chance. He was the only one that scored for him in the first quarter. He had 11 in the first quarter, and they were down 23-11. So if he wasn't going early, they would have been in big trouble. And then Mikey Nagoy got going late too, helped kind of spark that comeback to give him a chance in the fourth. Finished with 16 points, made a couple of big plays. So
nice player.
Yeah, he is, and he's continued to get better. He's got terrific athleticism.
Continue to get better throughout the Lincoln Southeast program.
Yep,
been there the whole time.
Excellent note. So
I messed that up earlier and said he transferred. Just for those that are just, if you did, I said he transferred from somewhere previously, and I needed to correct that. Yeah. So there you go.
Yep. So just a single game week for Bellevue West, which is not the case this week. They had 3 games. Week. The Bellevue East on Tuesday, they go to Central on Friday. That's a big one. And then quick turnaround heading out to Grand Island for the Heartland Hoops Classic. We'll talk about that later to take on Sunrise Christian Academy there. So Bellevue West sitting at 16-1, looking pretty solid, but definitely not cruising to the finish here. They're facing some difficult tests here to get them ready for the postseason.
Yeah. And Millard North hangs on, stays at 2. Feels like those two are just kind of right in that. They're just kind of not cruising along, but they feel like there's separation there.
Yeah, and they
especially based off of what happened last Tuesday.
Yeah, and huge week for Derek Rollins.
Yeah,
we've seen in the past Millard North, they've kind of won by a lot of different guys getting going. They got some good players. It was all Derek this week.
Tuesday was huge.
He had 53 points in their 2 games this week. Only 2 other players. Neil Mosser had 16 in their 73-64 win against Millard South. So Patriots are pretty scrappy. They got a lot of young guys. It's hard to beat really good teams when you're playing a lot of freshmen, sophomores, and a junior. But that's Millard North was able to hold on there. And then 58-46 against Millard West. Again, similar. You got the kind of Millard rivalries there. And neither game was easy for him, but Grant Urbanic was the second leading scorer with 11 in that one. So it really was Rollins kind of carrying them tough matchup for both those teams they played. Not a lot of size on either side. But Rollins, 32 points, 12 rebounds, 3 steals, 2 assists, only missed 2 shots from the field against Millard South. And then against Millard West, 21 points, 10 rebounds, 3 blocks, 9 of 14 from the field, 3 of 4 from the line. So he's a really, really good high school basketball player and a tough matchup for opposing teams.
Yeah.
And
then West Side.
Go ahead. They got Bellevue
play,
East Friday.
Yeah.
That's single game for Millard North this week, sitting there at 60-2.
Yeah. And then West Side moves up to 3 because other people lost, even though they lost to Millard North.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Well, they
or stays at 3. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, no, they moved up.
Or did they move up? Yeah, ahead of Central.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
moved up ahead of Central. Central took a loss.
We talked about that.
But Westside bounced back from that Millard North game.
Right.
They took care of business against Creighton Prep in overtime. So rematch from the holiday tournament, obviously rivalry there. Prep down 2 starters, Trinell Parker and Caleb Josu did not play in that one. And Westside was up 32-18 at halftime because of the 25-point second quarter. Second half was 41-27. Prep found a way. They got hot from deep. Carson Jones hit some big ones, and Dylan Clausen's just a handful for anybody in the state to deal with. Got it to overtime there, and then Westside just made a few more plays there. Ricky Lofton, 25 points, 11 rebounds, 9 of 13 from the field, 5 of 7 from 3, hit his 2 free throws. And Kevin Stubblefield added 24 points, 7 boards, 2 blocks, 9 of 15 from the field, 4 of 5 from 3. So those 2 really kind of shouldered the load. And then they got 13 points, 5 assists, 4 rebounds for Caleb Benning, who's been stuffing the stat sheet lately, doing a little bit of everything. And then CJ Mitchell at 11 points, 4 assists. So team effort from Westside, but really kind of really impressive showing for Prep to be shorthanded to give themselves a chance in that one. Clausen had 22 points, 9 rebounds, 3 blocks, 9 of 13 from the field, 4 of 6 from the line. Again, just all the ways that he can hurt you offensively, the plays he makes defensively. Tough matchup. And then Carson Jones finished with 17, went 5 of 9 from 3. They got 12 from Josh Kearney off the bench, who has had to play more with the absences in the last 2 games. And then Marquise Tolliver, 11 points, 5 rebounds. So good showing by Prep, but Westside got it done. And now they also have a short week because their Heartland Hoops Classic matchup fell through. Denver East isn't making the trip, so Westside will play Millard South on Friday, and that will be it for them this week.
Yeah. It's too bad because Westside was going to not make up that game, add an opponent. Pius was going to play them out in Grand Island at the Heartland Hoops Classic, but Pius couldn't get out of the Fremont game that they have scheduled, or couldn't move the Fremont didn't want to move the game that they have scheduled for Saturday night. So Westside's without an opponent and not going to be able to make up or add another one because you can't. So, not great.
No,
it's all right.
It is what it is, though. They're sitting there 13-4, and again, third in Class A. So
seems a little fishy with Denver East not coming out here. It seems a little ducking going on, in my opinion, just from what I've heard. I haven't heard Denver East side of things besides the fact that I guess their commissioner said they had to make up a game with somebody in state, and that's the reason why they couldn't come out to play in that game. But feels a little last minute to do that. Anyway,
somebody that will play in Grand Island is Gretna, who's at 4.
Yeah. Moved up.
With 5-4, jumped Central after beating the Eagles 64-59. Shot 54 from the field, 40 from 3, 73 from the line. And they defended Central really well, but gave up 16 offensive rebounds to keep that thing close.
Right.
Central's big physical team. But Alec Wilcoxon, 21 points, 8 of 9 from the line. Didn't even shoot well from 3. Alec Wilkins, 15. Landon Pekorski, 14. Joey Veith, 9. Cade Cook, 5 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists. It was the starting five scored all of their points.
What they have.
Yeah.
But it's going to be those 5 all the time.
And it was enough to get it done, though. 64-59, following a 67-45 win against Omaha Northwest earlier in the week. Cade Cook had a monster game in that one, 26 points, 5 boards, 3 assists, 3 steals, and also committed to Washburn. So Cook and Dylan Clausen, who played together last summer, they'll be playing together in college as well.
Teammates playing together. Yeah, in college. So pretty cool.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep. So another D2 player off the board. I said, like, this is a really good defense or Division II class. A lot of guys didn't quite get to that D1 threshold in terms of physical traits and all that, but a lot of really good players in this 24 class.
Hey, not everyone is a Division I basketball player. Yeah. I'm going to end right there.
And there's nothing wrong with that. Again, D2 is really good hoops.
Yeah.
So
I could keep going on that.
We're good. Congrats to Cade.
Yeah, congrats to Cade.
Yeah. So Gretna, they've got a tough one. They go to Bryan on Tuesday, and then they take on Pembroke Hill out of Missouri on Saturday. Although Pembroke Hill doesn't look like it's got a great team.
As normal. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Anyway.
That's okay.
Yeah. Central, they dropped from 3 to 5 after taking that loss to Gretna. They got
Central has a tough week.
They got 17 points and 5 offensive rebounds out of Elijah Wayne. But not quite enough outside of that. And then Fremont, they got 18 points and 5 boards, 80% shooting from Deshaun Prince, who also had 10 points and 7 boards. So like he's kind of a key to, like, if you can get a little bit more offensive production out of him to go with Daleron Thomas, who's always going to be putting up numbers, they can get Devin Holman going a little bit more than they did this past week. They'll be fine. But they got a tough week as well. They go to Bellevue West Friday, and then or they host Bellevue West Friday, and then take on Omaha North on Saturday. Central North. That'll be fun.
Saturday afternoon at Central. And I'm just going to go ahead and say a good thing it's like a 3:45 game and not 7.
Yeah.
Because it might get just crazy anyway. Just because it will for some dumb reason. But yeah.
Yep. So North stays at 6.
No love lost between Omaha North and Omaha Central. If you didn't know, there's 0 love lost. Basketball, football, basically everything.
Yeah. And don't think we'll be seeing them playing football next year.
We'll find out on Wednesday.
So North remained at 6 at 14-2, took care of business again. 68-52 at Papillion La Vista, 65-41 at Omaha Benson, and 78-63 at Columbus. Minor Strong continues to put up numbers at 19 points, 5 assists, 4 rebounds, 4 steals. Against Papio, 26 points, 8 steals, 5 rebounds, 2 blocks against Benson. Then 16 against Columbus. They got some good games from Jerrion Williams in there. DeAndre Harper was solid throughout. So it's kind of rounding into form, getting a lot of guys playing well there. And now they enter that tough part of the schedule that we talked about, where they'll be able to prove themselves. They got South on Tuesday and Buena Vista on Friday, but then they go to Omaha Central on Saturday, like I mentioned. So that'll be kind of the start of this little 3-game tough stretch against really good teams that they'll have to play at a really high level to maintain this winning streak that they're on.
Yeah. And their stretch is they're 14-2. We're about to find out how good they are, right? Like, I think they're actually pretty good. Yeah. I do. Like, I know, like, so I will say this: one person voted on our poll, put them at 9 this week. So I think they're pretty good. Had another person put them at 4. So
bit of a. I mean, that's Class A this year.
When
once you get past that first tier,
as
we've seen kind of these results. And
I watched them against Papio, Papillion La Vista, and they just dominated. I mean, and Papio has a winning record, but they just dominated them from start to finish. Wasn't close.
And Southeast moved up 2 spots despite the loss, looking impressive.
I think that's what it was.
As well as anybody.
I think that's what it was. I think it was a good loss, right? This is what moved them up. Well, and other people lost too.
Yeah. So they're 15-5. They beat Norfolk by 30 earlier in the week. So they've got at Kearney on Friday, and then they host Papillion de Vista on Saturday for the Knights this week. Prep fell to 8 from 7 to 8.
I think people looked. I think they took the loss, so you have to move down. But I think part of that was they lost to Pius too. They've lost a couple and then one. Yeah. But I think it was more like, okay, the coaches that voted no, hey, they were without these players. Yeah. So it matters.
Yep. And so we talked about that West Side game, and then I was on Saturday afternoon. They beat Millward South 65-50. It was tight at halftime, and then they opened up second half 39-25, outscored the Patriots. Clausen again, 18 points, 10 rebounds, 5 blocks, only missed 2 shots, had a couple of threes. Jones, and again, Carson Jones, 17 points, 4 assists, 4 of 8 from 3. When he is hitting threes, they're a different team.
He's going to have a pretty big kind of end of the year here. They need someone else with the scoring punch, and he's very capable of doing that.
And especially when he's knocking down shots, then Clausen becomes so much harder to guard inside. Like Millward South did a great job of kind of collapsing, limiting his opportunities. They're really swarming. They're switching. They're sending doubles in the post. Clausen didn't take a ton of shots early on. And then in the second half, they started moving the ball really well, finding their shooters. And again, Jones, he makes a difference when he's hitting those threes. They become really tough to guard. So 2 big games for him last week. And they're, like you said, they're going to need more of that moving forward. And Josh Kearney, 14 off the bench again, with some missing guys, you need others to step up. And Kearney's one that has done that. So they've got Millward West on Friday, and then they make the trip down to Missouri for the Rockers game. Kind of
they always play them that weekend
every year. Kind of the home every other year. Yep. So that'll be challenging them, hitting the road, going down there on Saturday. So Prep's 12-5, and it's got another big week. So Kearney
has a tough week.
Back in. Yeah. At number 9, despite taking the loss at Pius, I was there, is 68-66.
I think the Brian win kind of.
Yeah, 100 exactly. Great game, down to the wire. Kearney tied it up with 15 and change left. Then
it's game winner.
Yeah, Pius.
Game block.
Yeah. Pius put the ball in Kellen Hum's hands, and kind of he got downhill, left his feet, and then Aiden Brass, cutting out of the corner, dropped it off to him for the go-ahead layup with 1.3 left. And I mean, Kearney did a great job of 1.3 is not a whole lot you can do. They did the old deep pass and pitch play, got Jacob Weber what looked like was going to be a clean look, and then Trayson Anderson out of nowhere switched out to him, used that big wingspan, blocked the 3 at the buzzer to make sure they didn't even get a chance for that thing to go in. So it was a great game. And they got pretty, Anderson didn't have a big game. It really was Hum taking over in the second half, scored 13 of his 16. Aiden Brass had a solid game. Adam Searcy was good as well. So they got some good offensive balance there, but Kearney, Ben Johnson, phenomenal. 25 points, 5 assists, 9 and 13 from the field, 5 of 8 from 3, hit big shot after big shot. And he was the one they kind of put 2 guys on that last play, and they kind of used him as a decoy to get Weber free, but Anderson heads up play to kind of switch off and get there. Asher Endorf was terrific as well. 19 points, 8 rebounds, 7 assists, hit a couple of big threes, 7-11 from the field overall. They got 9 points, 6 assists from Carter Lee. And so Jacob Weber picked up 3 fouls in the first quarter, and that kind of just took him out of rhythm. He never really got into it. Obviously one of their top scorers. But after that, he made up for it the rest of the week.
He had, he had 51 total in 2 games.
Or 59.
59, yeah. 31 against Bryan and 28 against Northeast.
Yeah,
it's pretty good.
So they bounced back from that close loss at Pius to beat Bryan 66-50. They outscored them 20-5 in the fourth quarter, and that was ball game. We've seen Bryan have some fourth quarter issues in the past with some turnovers and whether they've had the lead or they're trying to come back. And it looks like Kearney kind of put him in a tough spot there. You mentioned Jacob Weber, 31, and only hit 2 threes as part of that 31. Yeah. That's kind of been what he has done this season.
He's got a little turnaround mid-range thing that's like pretty good, man.
Yeah. So
like yeah.
So expanding the game, just a sophomore again, coming in here,
just
kind of
a 3-point shooter. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, at all.
Asher Endorf, 14 points, 12 boards, and Ben Johnson, 12 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists. And then you mentioned Weber had 28, hit 5 threes against Northeast. Endorf, 18 points, 6 boards, Ben Johnson, 15 and 9. With those 3 playing well,
they're big tough. 3. I mean, they're basically the only 3 guys that scored a point against Bellevue West in that loss that they had. So it feels like they're coming. They have a huge week.
Yep.
I mean, they play Westview Monday,
Southeast Friday,
and then Papio South
Saturday. Last 2 are at home, but those are 3 good teams. The
Papio South is Grand Island.
Yeah, that's right. Yep.
That's a huge week because we
don't often get A versus A out there.
Right.
2 good games.
Those 3. I mean, those are all Division I wins. If you're looking at wildcard points, if they can get 3,
if they can get them,
because they're all teams that have a winning record.
And that's what we saw.
And they're all teams fighting for like the bottom.
Yeah, Papio South receiving votes after losing Kircher,
but they're fighting for I'm talking district seeding stuff. You're like, can one of these guys sneak into the set 6 or 7? Right? Is it a home district thing or a 2, right? Which gets you at least 1 home game. So
still a lot to figure out these last couple of weeks of the regular season here.
Yeah. Kearney would love to not have to travel in districts, let me tell you, especially either home or away game. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. And then so Pius rounding out the top 10. They stayed at 10. Coming off of that big win against Kearney, that was their 5th straight win against some really good teams in the mix there. They followed it up with the 67-63 loss at Lincoln North Star. That ended their winning streak. Jordan Castor, the freshman, was terrific. 21 points, 5 steals. Zarek Houston had 14 points, 5 assists, 5 steals, 11.7 boards from KG Gatwich. And North Star, they don't have a great record. They're super young. So they're kind of all over the place, but they're talented. And so you got to come ready to play when you face them. And Pius wasn't able to get it done despite 23 and 15 from Trayson Anderson. They got him going again. They had 19 turnovers as a team and shot 5 of 16 from 3. Fix that next game by playing against Omaha Northwest. And so final score was Trayson Anderson 46, Omaha Northwest 44.
Yeah. If you outscore the opponent in the whole game, that's really, really hard to do.
Yeah. The rest of the rest of Pius also outscored Omaha Northwest. It was Trayson 46, rest of Pius 45, and Northwest 44. So I don't know. I've seen many things like that, but school record for Anderson.
Not only is he the team's leader in points, rebounds, obviously block shots, he leads the team with 13 steals. Yeah. He's their post player.
Yep.
Okay. Just saying. It's pretty good.
Yep. So Pius, Lincoln High Tuesday, and Lincoln East Friday, and Fremont Saturday. So that's kind of rounds thing out in Class A.
Trayson Anderson right now is at 16.9, so 17 and 12.2. So he's got to get a little bit to get to that 20.
Oh, and he hit a little quiet stretch there, a few games in a row with 8, 11, something in that range. Yep. Woke up, snapped out of that in a hurry. Yeah.
I mean, should have been before the year started. I was like, yep, he should be dominant in Lincoln this year. So, and he is.
Yep. All right. On to Class B.
Hey, before we get to Class B, though, let me tell you, did you know that using your seatbelt saves lives and prevents injuries? Only if it's properly worn. You have to make it click. You know, when you put your seatbelt in, it goes click, makes that click noise that I just tried to make. Yeah, you have to do that in order to make sure it'll save your life if you get in an accident. And this message from the NDOT Highway Safety Office. Okay, Class B.
Yeah. Crete
continues
hanging on there
roll.
strong at number 1. But man, that game on Thursday night was fantastic. Unfortunately, got some bad news coming out of it.
Yeah.
But so yeah, Crete's 18-0. They handled Schuyler, and then hosted Wahoo on Thursday. Ended up pulling out a 90-81 win. 4 minutes into the game, Ben Ehlers, senior, really good player for them, really important to what they do. Went down with an injury, and unfortunately, he'll be done for the season. So Crete lost a huge piece there, but they rallied in the game there. Some other guys stepped up and found a way to get it done. It was a 2-point game with 3 minutes to play. And again, Wahoo did a great job of getting back into the game after falling behind early. And then Crete just big shot after big shot with different guys down the stretch. Justice Gardner, Reese Verdon, Trace Eggy, obviously Aiden McDowell. All these different guys made plays in the fourth quarter to put Crete back, kind of stretch that thing out a little bit more. But Aiden McDowell finished with 27 points, 5 rebounds, went 10-12 from the line. Key, though, was Justice Gardner. Again, with Ehlers going down, they need somebody to step up, and he's kind of that other front court guy at 6'6". He was one guarding Marcus Glock for much of the night, and we'll talk about what Marcus did in a second here, but he did a pretty good job, all things considered, despite what Marcus ended up doing. Definitely didn't make it easy on him, but I finished with 25 points, 5 boards, 3 assists, 2 blocks. Just was raining threes. He did a fantastic job. 5 of 6 from 3, I believe, in the game he was. And that really was the difference. They did a good job on a lot of other guys, but Wahoo just had no answer for him. And Kendrick Svitak did a bit of everything. 14 points, 9 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals. So they fantastic offensive game. Shot 51 from the floor, 44 from the field, 80 from the line as a team. Like that's how you get to 90 points there. A lot of different guys playing well. But man, Marcus Glock in that game broke his dad's school record.
Yeah.
He finished with 54 points on 13 of 25 from the field, 4 of 8 from 3, and 24 of 25 from the line. Also had 6 assists. And the wild thing about the game is he came out in the first quarter. He was like playing point guard, setting guys up. He hardly shot in the first quarter. Had 6 points and 4 assists, I think, in the first quarter. And then as the game went on, it's like, all right, it's got to be me. I got to take over here. And just every play was going through, and they did a great job of getting him the ball in his spots, ran some good actions, and then he just made some plays. He scored 37 of their 41 in the second half and assisted one of their other 2 buckets. I saw Teddy Allen play plenty. I've seen some fantastic players come through. I don't know if I've ever seen anything quite like that second half was. And again, Wahoo's, they don't have, he's got some good players around him, but that's just the way the game played out. Crete just had no answer for him. Unfortunately, Wahoo couldn't get enough stops to get the win, but special night for Marcus for sure there.
I think he's established himself as a top scorer in the state of Nebraska.
Yep.
After that one.
Yeah.
Maybe.
So Crete,
maybe he's still got more work to do. He's establishing instead of established.
Yeah.
It's probably. Yeah.
So Crete goes to Aurora Thursday, and then out in Grand Island, they're taking on Ogallala. Yeah. And again, now
that one will be fun.
We'll have to see.
I won't be there, but it'll be fun.
Yeah, we'll have to see kind of how the Ehlers injury changes things for them. The good news is they have a lot of size. They got a lot of 6'4", 6'5", 6'6".
OG's got some size though too.
Yeah, not a ton.
Some I said some.
But so that'll be an interesting contrast of styles between those two. Again, another fun game. B-C1 crossover. C1's pretty good. A lot of these teams can step up and take on Class B teams without a problem.
Kind of like last year.
Yeah. Norris there hanging on it too.
No
huge
change.
Week.
Yeah, they got a big week.
Huge week. Yeah, they handled Beatrice. Big game from Chris Gardner Jr. and Evan Greenfield. Then they handled Lincoln Christian. They got Scott on Tuesday, Elkhorn North on Friday at their place, and then Lincoln Lutheran on Saturday. Is that rescheduled game, I think, from the weather? Mm-hmm. So, 3-game week for the Titans, who are sitting at 15-1 and number 2 in our poll. Elkhorn also has a big week. They took care of business, just one game against Hastings last week. 17 points, 7 assists from Nixon Farmer, sophomore there. 15 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists from Nate Roberts. 11 points, 10 rebounds, 7 assists from Colin Comstock. 6 blocks and 11 points for Cole Peterson. So they got everybody kind of firing on all cylinders there against Hastings for that trip. And this week they got Blair on Tuesday and Scott on Friday, both on the road. So Elkhorn will have a chance to go prove themselves again this week, and they're at 13-2 and third in the poll. And then kind of the big mover this week,
Bennington, big jump,
8-4, 10-7 record overall, but starting to pick up some good wins here.
The thing,
same thing they did last year.
The thing with them is hard because of football. They play so late, and all of those kids, basically everyone's playing football. It takes a little bit of time.
And they've had some injuries that have changed.
Right.
They got 2 guys that would be starting for them now that aren't playing.
It just takes a little. They started slow. They'll be fine.
But 65-60 win against Scott.
It's a big win.
And good offensive balance. And that's kind of what they've been doing. They've got a guy or two that maybe gets to 20 in a game, but really it's offensive balance. It's Austin Kaiser with 16. Easton Lapel stepped up big. 15 points, 6 of 8 from the field, hit 3 threes. Jace Fitzgerald, 12 off the bench. Gavin Olson, 10 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 steals. Just really good offensive balance for them. And doubled up South Sioux City at their place. Hudson Newberth led the way with 16 points in that one. So Bennington jumped to 4, Scott dropped to 5. Sitting there at 10-6, and again, they got a huge week. Norris on Tuesday at their place, and Elkhorn on Friday. So taking on 2 and 3.
Class B's got some big matchups this week.
Really. So Scott, let's see, they pick up 2 wins this week, then that top 5 is jumbling around because they're taking on 2 and 3.
Yeah,
so
there's going to be some movement.
Yeah. And Elkhorn North is there at 6, moved up 1 spot. Took care of business this week, 3 big wins. And then they got that big one on Friday against Norris. And then Scottsbluff, they lost that rematch.
That's why Elkhorn North moved up. It's because of the loss, I'm assuming.
Scottsbluff took that, lost the rematch at Sydney after beating them in their tournament. Sydney's a good team there. And then Scottsbluff's in that 15-5. They go to North Platte Friday, McCook Saturday, and then Roncalli at 8. They
Scottsbluff has 3 games left, and they should. Well, at McCook could be tricky.
So Roncalli, big one on Tuesday there at 8. We got Platteview at 9 and Waverly at 10. So nothing super noteworthy in C1. No change in the top 10 at all. Just the Marcus Glock game is probably the most noteworthy thing from C1. And then huge week for Lincoln Lutheran in C2. Ranked number 1. They go to C1 number 1 Auburn on Thursday, and they go to B number 2 Norris on Saturday, like I said. So
hopefully I'll be at that game on Thursday. That's my
nobody can accuse Lincoln Lutheran of ducking tough opponents this season. Their schedule has been ridiculous.
I saw that when I saw them play early January, and I said, wow, like your schedule is really brutal. They did it on purpose though.
They've got 5 losses and they're number 1 in the class, which speaks to the respect that the coaches have for the way that they challenge themselves.
Even above an undefeated Ponca, who's won some nice games against some ranked teams and stuff up in the northeast part of the state. So, they're cruising. Everyone else, and another kind of cross matchup is Johnson Brock and Freeman play, and Freeman's 5 in C2 and D1. Johnson Brock's
undefeated, 19-0.
So that one could be a little, that one's kind of interesting matchup there.
100%. So,
all right, Heartland Hoops. You want to run down real quick?
Give the full schedule. I'm planning to be there all day. You're gonna
be there for part of the day.
Because you got the Huskers on Saturday as well. Got to cover that in Lincoln. I went a couple years ago in the snow. I went out there for this, drove back to Lincoln, and then went back for those games. I would not advise doing that. So I think you're good. Don't need to come back. You'll be good.
I couldn't make it back for 7:45.
But here's the schedule. First game of the day, again, because of Denver East dropping out, we've got
Times
a
have
reduced slate.
changed.
No Friday night game this year, where in the past he's brought in a couple of the out of state teams that faced each other that Friday night beforehand. It's just straight 2 for 6 games on Saturday is what the deal is this year. First game, 11 o'clock, the Grand Island Central Catholic taking on Elkhorn Valley. 12:45, Omaha Concordia is taking on Doniphan Trumbull, and huge one in C1, 2 top 5, top 6-ish teams there. Doniphan Trumbull was there at 6. And Doniphan Trumbull, Jack Poppy, their best player, went down with an ankle injury, missed their last game. I think he's working hard to get ready for this game. I think we'll have a chance to see him on Saturday, which would be huge. I really hope that we're able to see both teams healthy in that one. 2:30 game is Creed against Ogallala, like we mentioned. Again, just really fun matchup there. 2 fantastic teams. Papillion and Vista South is taking on Kearney at the 4:15 game we talked about. And then at 6 p.m., it's the Gretna versus Pembroke Hill out of Missouri. And then the nightcap is Bellevue West against Sunrise Christian Academy out of Kansas there. So that is the slate. I will be there, have coverage all day long. Mike will be there for a bit for the first couple of games there. So we will recap all of that next week. But kind of closing this week's episode out with some shout outs, and mentioned Elkhorn Valley is playing out in Grand Island. Kellen Olendick Jr. there. His brother graduated last year, was a fantastic player for them, stat sheet stuffer. Pretty good player in his own right. 32 points, 12 of 15 shooting, 2 of 5 from 3, 6 of 10 from the line, 8 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals, and a block in a 59-48 win against North Central for Elkhorn Valley. South Platte senior Dashel Richards, 27 points, 10 of 18 from the field, 4 of 7 from 3, 3 of 3 from the line, 10 rebounds, 8 steals, so near triple-double there in a 61-36 win against Arthur County. Kimball senior Brandon Paxton, 24 points, 9 of 17 shooting, 6 of 8 from the field or from the line, 17 rebounds, 5 blocks, 2 steals, and an assist in a 56-31 win against Morrill. And then finally, going up to Class A, Elkhorn South Junior Lincoln Schwartz, 26 points, 10 of 14 from the field, 6 of 8 from the line, 15 rebounds, including 7 on the offensive end, 2 assists and a block in a 61-51 win against Lincoln Northeast. And he's had some huge games recently. Kind of got off to a quiet start to the season, but he's a good player. He was kind of the fill-in starter for them last year when they suffered an injury, got plenty of experience, and now he's kind of emerging as one of their key guys this year.
Okay. Sweet. We're done.
That's all I got. Yeah.
It's a jam-packed episode of Nebraska Preps post game this week. So we will catch you next week after the Heartland Hoops Classic and after these big matchups this week. There's a lot of really good matchups this week.
Hard to believe we only got a couple weeks left, but that's where we're at.
It's not hard to believe. All right, that'll do it for Nebraska Preps post game.